Okay, calling our Tuesday, November 25th Energy and Environment Committee meeting to order here. And to confirm we have quorum.
Yes, we do.
For any decisions that are made. So we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all. In terms of attendance, we are missing, I think, 3 members. Glenn, Bill, and George.
Bill and George are excused.
Okay. Cool. No public comments to it?
I think they closed it.
Tried to convince my wife to come today. She was approval of minutes, so we do have forms so we can vote on the minutes. So we have anyone, or I guess we have a motion to approve the minutes from October.
I'll make the motion. You had made a minor edit.
Yes, I didn't circulate that, but is that okay?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a second.
All those in favor?
Aye. You're gonna abstain, or are we gonna?
I think I need
You're
to.
abstain?
I didn't watch the video. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
You don't have to, in the future, you probably don't have to watch a video. You probably don't need to, I think you want to, but if you want to, you can review the document that's circulated.
I did review that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, based on that, I'll vote yes.
Okay.
It
I don't know,
seems-
we can chat about the protocol for that. So no exceptions, any opposed? Okay, minutes from October passed. Yeah, and just to open that up quickly, I think, personally, my opinion would be that even if you want to hold consent, if you read the minutes and don't say anything glaringly.
And he had a great idea, like I could watch the video,
Yeah.
and I didn't even think
Probably not the most riveting, but.
Yeah, you don't have to, but if it makes you feel better about it, so be it.
Oh, shoot, okay. Yeah, let me know if that's still an issue, and if I need to talk directly into it, if that helps.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Administrative topics, so I threw this in there as part of the agenda items, just really to address the fact that I think we have one open seat on the committee, and I think it'd be worth opening that up if everyone else is in agreement. I think it's fairly easy, like, first of all, just word of mouth for everyone here. There's a few locations I wouldn't mind, like, if we could get like a flyer or something. Like, I think Crack Skulls, like, their general vibe aligns with energy and environment, so that'd be a good place to probably post something. And then Facebook page and then
Tell them to
town
contact
website.
you, and then you can tell them they go to Wendy or whatever, they can get the form that they have to fill out.
Yeah.
And send it back to you.
So who would I speak to? I don't know, you or
Wendy.
Wendy, to in order to get a like print like some sort of town sanctioned flyer, if I were to do that.
To do that? No.
Don't do that?
No, there's that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you can talk to them, but they won't do that. I mean, we can put it on the town website too.
Okay.
But we're not going to print a flyer.
They won't? Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
If you want, like, the town, like the letterhead.
That's basically what I was
if you
thinking.
want
You'd
that
say
on
like,
it,
yeah,
I
we have an
can
opening.
I can share that with you you can just put it on the like heading of the public notice, because we
Yeah.
do that for public notices.
Okay.
If you want to just put that on that so it looks more
That's more of what I
official
was
as a town
thinking. I wasn't
committee.
thinking
Yeah.
like blasting a flyer out to the entire town. It's more just like print one, put it at like a window, or like they have a bulletin board at Crack Skull
I got that.
specifically. So.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's probably, I think we talked about it at planning board too, because there's elections coming up in, what's it, 3 months from now?
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, so 4 months from now. So if the town's not already aware, I'm sure they're starting to look forward to publicizing that as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you want something sooner than March, which would really be April by the time they're put into place and all that. And I think this board doesn't have any, other than the members from the other committees that are actually voted in, right? This is all appointed.
This is all appointed.
Okay,
yes.
so yeah, so it'd be any time, I guess, or it doesn't matter for the elections. Never mind.
No,
but if
that's
you don't
helpful.
get somebody by elections, it's a good good way to also kind of
Right,
advertise, and they'll
exactly.
be advertising for those other open spots too. Yeah, if you have some, I think Wendy is a good point of contact for getting the town letterhead for the public notice and for posting, printing here, and she can share it with Tim to make sure it gets in the newsletter too. So if you have just a short call to action, come join us if you're interested in these things.
Yeah.
Get that info to her, and she could probably put it together. And if you want to copy me, just to make sure that
Okay.
I can follow up with her and get it to the right channels, I can
Yeah.
do that.
All right, I can do that. That's easy enough. So I know you posted, that's how I found the committee on the Facebook page, maybe last summer. That's how I found it, so I might poach whatever you said then.
Yeah.
Okay. I think next topic is just general updates on renewable energy projects. I can give Lindsay most of the floor here, but Lindsay and I met with the school board, and I do have some notes I can say. Sorry.
I didn't meet the school board.
Oh, who was that?
The
The
school
superintendent?
superintendent and facilities.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's okay. School board's a different group.
For vernacular. Yeah. Okay, so we met with the superintendent and a few others associated with the school. Not really since the school board step separate. To discuss potential projects, collaborating with the school. And one of the ones that I was hoping would maybe find some traction was large carport over the parking lot, adjacent across the street from the high school, but it doesn't seem like that would be immediately feasible. What they kind of counter proposed was something that I guess has been an appetite or on appetite for a while, is a sports facility in that lot that they recently acquired. I don't know how long it's been, but they were originally going to put a new high school there. They haven't done that, obviously. So potentially putting some sort of sports complex to replace the fields that are used currently, like the rec center fields, for their sporting events. And we could potentially collaborate on some energy projects there, whether it's smaller rooftop, maybe they might have to expand the parking lots. We could potentially do a small carport. I was thinking batteries, but it's very early stages. So still really the first step in this process, following last month's meeting, is engaging with SoulSmart, who will help us with feasibility studies on parcels of interest.
Mhm.
So I guess with that, we can
Turn
pass
over to me.
Yeah.
So the SoulSmart solar feasibility study is the program that Katrin talked about when she was here with us. Was it last month or
Mhm.
yeah? So I did follow up with Katrin and Sarah and Zach at SoulSmart, and I shared our list of municipal properties that we're considering. They came back and said it's a lot of properties, and they have capacity to evaluate a top 5. They'll look at the other ones if they can, but wanted to focus on priority sites. So based on the conversation with the school administration, we had identified the junior, senior high school and the parcels across the street as a good top priority site with significant potential for development, not just rooftop, but because the school has evaluated rooftop, and that's not really an option without significant modifications to reinforce the roof. So looking at area where we have open land, so we could consider a ground-mounted array, could potentially be tied into this athletic field that the school is considering. Just an idea at this point, but they're looking to expand athletic facilities, add a new field, potentially a track, and make it a good community space. And it seems like a good opportunity for the school and the town to collaborate on some recreational athletic facilities that the town has expressed interest in expanding there. So there's opportunity to incorporate solar in a few different ways, or maybe other sources of renewable energy. So that's our top priority site. And then the other sites that I included high in the list were the DPW fire station, because we have a large roof space there. We also have a little bit of land space there that could potentially be used. We know that the roof needs upgrades, but this feasibility study should be able to provide us with an estimated generation if we were to invest in reinforcing the roof. What could we generate at the site, and what kind of benefit could we get there? So that one, and then the police station and town hall are two that again have been identified as potential renovation opportunities coming in the future. So we wanted to have those in the list for consideration to see what we could generate with those two. And I forget what the last one is, but it was essentially the priorities where, or the properties where we have existing buildings for behind the meter usage, and the ones that are currently higher in the list of our electricity usage for town facilities. So they are in the process of evaluating those. Last I heard from them was last week. They had a couple of questions. I sent them some additional information for clarification, and they said they will get into it and get back to me soon. So I'm hoping we will be hearing from them with a summary report potentially by the end of this year. That's my hope. I don't know how quickly they're going to get through that with the holidays, but I assume we'll know soon what they come up with for potential generation at those 5 sites. And that's all at no cost to the town that they're doing that study, and then we'll be able to take what they give us as a feasibility, preliminary feasibility, and have some additional discussions with the school administration and town manager and town council, and see what and how we want to pursue those potential sites.
Did we talk about that HUD lot next to the rec department? Was that considered?
That might have been the one that I included. It might have been the community center that was the 5th one. I would have to check it to see. If I didn't include that, it may have only been because the HUD property is not town-owned, so there may be some hurdles with that. But community center was the next in the list on energy usage, so I think it was the one that I incorporated in there. I can follow up with you to confirm.
So is that so smart what they're providing us, essentially like how much generation capacity that property could support, and then was there like a market rate aspect estimate how much it could cost?
Yes, I believe they're incorporating some general costs for consideration on the capital to construct, and what kind of payback period would be associated with something of a certain size. I don't know. I don't think it's going to get as detailed as understanding, at least for like ground mount, what kind of natural resource impacts or permitting would be required, but sort of a high level, if you maximize and use this full space, this is what you could get, and then you kind of scale down from there.
Okay.
So do we believe that following results from this would be a point at which we'd engage with developers?
Or is there a lot more, are there a lot more steps in between?
I would
Results.
say more steps before engaging with developers, depending on which site we're talking about. The one with the school definitely would be some additional steps in coordination on what a plan would look like there, and get some kind of baseline site information. They have a site assessment that's more of an environmental assessment on potential sources of contamination that was the stack of reports that they had. So they've done some of the preliminary work there, but like more up-to-date current wetland delineation and identification of those types of resources hasn't been done yet. So that would be a next thing to discuss, and start talking with maybe not necessarily developers, but engineers to understand what that site could look like and how that would come together. But the other ones, it may just depend on what kind of generation we could get, and knowing that we have some roof needs, maybe we need to start talking with structural engineers and architects and get some cost estimates for what the roof reinforcement would need to look like so we could have those discussions with developers. It might be kind of a tandem developer and structural engineer discussion.
Yeah, I think the key is understanding if it's feasible and then getting the town, those projects to incorporate that into the build out of that, whatever it is. Because it might dictate the funding stream that they're planning on, they had extra money for something, but now all of a sudden kicks it over what that extra pot is, if they have to start looking at, so, and kick out the timeline for things, so it can get complicated, but if it's small, relatively speaking, add on to like a whole roof replacement, then it might make sense to, like that, but.
Yep.
Kind of just depends, but there's always like CIP or there's new funding measures that just drags things out if you're starting to go through those committees or if town council has to look at something, right? So ideally it's something the town already has within their budgetary fees, so adding that on. See how much things cost.
And the other benefit to having the feasibility study and some of these rough estimates is that we could then also start working these into CIP if it's, the town hall and police station, I kind of think of separately because we have estimates for those renovations additions, and it would just be an element that gets incorporated as those go forward. And I believe we anticipated that there would be some options of renewable energy in those projects with those estimates that were already generated. But for DPW or for the junior senior high school, that would be, those would be things that we want to look at, start planning into the CIP and budgeting for potential roof replacement and then the solar addition and kind of thinking it a little bit more long-term with it.
Can you remind me what CIP stands for?
Capital Improvement Plan.
Is that an annual thing or is this a?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a committee for it as well that helps the town council.
Okay.
That does some more legwork for that for the town council.
Got it. Okay. Would SoulSmart's results be, are they solar focused? I mean,
I believe so.
implied in the name?
Yeah.
But, okay. All right, so we didn't tell them, like, give us every technology that could potentially, like, be evaluated.
Nope.
Okay. Sounds good. It sounds like there's not much else to do on that at the moment.
Nope,
We can
just
wait.
kind of wait for them
Yeah.
and wait till we hear what they have to say.
Okay, that sounds good. I think we can move on to Joe and community power updates and EAP amendment.
Okay, so I'm going to go a number of different directions
Sure.
here. Okay, so back in 2023, this is some background information for everybody here. Back in 2023, the town council approved this document, an electric aggregation plan. It's a document that defines how Newmarket Community Power, how will be governed and how will operate. Okay, and in that they also approved the Energy Environment Committee to be the Electric Aggregation Committee. Okay, it's specifically stated in there that the electric and the purpose of the Electric Aggregation Committee is basically to kind of like oversee the operation of Newmarket Community Power, and if something comes up that needs to be addressed, that we address what we can, and everything else we kind of like advise the town council on what it is that we need to do. Okay. So in that electric aggregation plan, we've contracted basically with Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire to enroll all the people in Newmarket and to do the billing and in the purchase of electricity. Okay. One of the things that the electric aggregation plan says is that there would be Community Power would do a periodic refresh. Okay, and that's basically go out and re-enroll customers or enroll customers, new customers in the town. Okay, and the way it's worded within the EPA is we don't really have a option to say we don't want to participate in this upcoming thing. And the reason we might not want to participate in an upcoming refresh is if Community Power's electric supply rate, if it's really much higher than Eversource, we might want to say, okay, we don't want to participate in this one for this time around maybe we'll do it next time. So there's a couple of things coming up. One thing I would like, in the past, I've been kind of like just doing stuff, okay? and speaking on behalf of the committee, I'd really like the committee to be more involved. So the first thing I would like to do is to get permission from the committee to actually amend the EPA, put wording in there that basically says, we reserve the option to opt out of a refresh. I'm going to show you something else here. The way it works in Newmarket, if somebody's in an apartment and they're on Newmarket Community Power, and that person moves out and a new person moves in, that new person is defaulted to Eversource. Okay, and so on a periodic basis, the Community Power Coalition will go to Eversource, get all those accounts, and they'll send them a letter basically saying, we're going to automatically enroll you into Newmarket Community Power. Here's Newmarket Community Power's rate, here's Eversource's rate. You have the option to opt out. Okay, so that's what they do. So I just got some statistics here that when we launched initially in March of 2024, there were 5,558 accounts. 3,989 were enrolled into Newmarket Community Power. The ones that weren't enrolled, basically, some people that may have been on net metering, people that already had contracts with other electric service providers. But so when we launched, we had like 72% of the town on Newmarket Community Power. As of November 1st, we're down to 64%. We've added some accounts have been, or new buildings have been built, or new apartments or whatever have come in. So the number of electric accounts have gone up, and a number of people, because they've moved or whatever. The majority of people that disenroll from Newmarket Community Power is because they move. So that's the background to it. CPCNH is currently planning to do a refresh in March of 2026. The end of December, we'll know what the new rates are going to be for that would be in effect when they do that refresh. So I want to do two things. One, I want to have this committee, like I say, authorize an update to the EPA, okay, to allow us to opt out. I will create a resolution that goes to the town council. I'll show you guys all that. I'm working with Community Power right now to put the actual wording into that document. We didn't really write all of that document. A lot of it was done by Community Power, so it's kind of like a boilerplate thing. And, it's quite extensive, but there are sections that are specific to Newmarket. So I'm working with them on the actual wording. In December, I'd like to show that to you guys and make sure that everybody's okay with that. But the first thing I want to do is, like I say, do I have permission to go ahead and do the amendment? And then in December, when we meet, we'll know what the new rate for Eversource is going to be, and I'd like the committee to say whether we should, participate or not participate in the refresh. So, does that sound reasonable? I don't know if we have to take a formal vote, but.
I think I'm okay for bringing it up for amendment. I definitely will want to kind of think about some of that, because I guess first, so the refresh, so I understand that periodically we go and grab the new accounts and basically tell them we're going to convert them. On what, is there a periodicity to where we go to accounts that have opted out or changed? Like, what periodicity do they have to kind of reflect on whether or not they want to go back to Community Power?
Okay. No, they don't. If somebody has opted out, they physically call and say they're put on a list and they do not get re-enrolled. Okay. They would have to actually call Community Power and voluntarily re-enroll.
Okay. Because I feel like if Community Power eventually meets its mission of being cheaper than kind of like the standard rate, it would be nice to at least publicize or somehow get out the word for people to come back. whatever that mechanism is, I'm not saying it needs to be here. That's just kind of a thought I had.
Mhm.
So the refresh is really just us allowing community power to go and grab the new accounts.
That's correct.
Okay. And you're hoping that by grabbing them at an advantageous time, it's probably, they're going to want to stay with that longer than maybe at a time where they're like, this is higher, I see it, I'm going to opt out.
Okay. It is to our benefit and community power's benefit to do a refresh, even if we're 1 or 2 cents higher than Eversource. It gives revenue to community power, allows them to do some other projects, and that's something else I'll talk about in a few minutes here. Allows them to do some other projects. Community power does offer cleaner energy choices. There's a 33%, 50%, and 100% clean energy. You don't get that with Eversource. Okay, so there's some advantages to being with community power.
So what would be the motivation then to delay or forego?
The only time I would suggest that we don't go with it, unless it's really an outrageous, 5 cents, 10 cents. I don't expect it would ever do that. That they would ever do that.
But
never
you
say
want
never.
to preserve the option,
Right, that's
which we
correct.
don't currently have.
Right.
Okay. No, I mean, that makes sense to me of not finding yourself giving this committee some leeway to kind of, otherwise there's really not much for us to do because it's kind of not self-fulfilling, but it works without our really involvement in all that.
And generally, that's how most of the there's 70 communities or 68, something like that are on community power. The majority of them are not actively involved. Okay, I've been actively involved because when I was there with the startup and I was on the board of directors for 3 years, and I'm still involved on their risk management and their governance committee. So I'm still involved with them. So but I think if I wasn't here, I don't know. I know the town manager has kind of been very good, pretty much hands off, and the other alternate has not done much.
Yeah, I guess, so yeah, that makes sense to me, I think, in principle. I guess the other question is more kind of a administrative one. So is this committee the right entity to kind of forego that for the town? What? Because you're essentially restricting the town from getting that new revenue, as you pointed out, if it were to happen. So, is this?
Well, we are the electric aggregation committee. It's our responsibility to kind of oversee the program and make recommendations. I would, report to the town. When I do the town council meetings, I would say, okay, the Energy and Environment Committee met. By the way, community power is doing a refresh in March of 2026, and we've decided to, go along with that refresh or participate in it. I don't know if I would say that there's going to be a 2 cent difference.
Yeah, I guess in my mind, is it something that we can do on our own, or is it an advisory where, yes, we're in charge of what we're seeing it, and we come with the recommendations, but ultimately the town council needs to be the ones that would
If
weigh
there's
in on
anything
that.
significant, it's really, the town manager is the executive. He's the one that ultimately makes the decision, but, the town council would give him some direction.
Okay. Yeah, that's just kind of I'm not super knowledgeable on that. That's not the charter, but how that's set up. That would be my only question is making sure we're not going astray of superseding the town council or the town manager's authority and saying, nope, you're not going to do this refresh for this entity. Even though I understand we might have a recommendation or advisory role to it.
Mhm.
We can say, we think you should do this, but.
I guess we use our judgment, but I think, again, if it's a penny or so difference, and the threshold is actually going to be we're talking about a threshold of 10%. That's what I've put in for and they're reviewing that. So 10% is really, if the electric rate is 10 cents or less, 10%, is less than a penny. If the electric rate is anywhere between, 11 cents and 20 cents, it's potentially a 2 cent per kilowatt hour, difference. The expectation is it's going to be in the 11 to 13%, 11 to 13 cent raise for this upcoming thing. That's both us and Eversource. Yeah.
Raised to 11 to 13 cents, or raised by?
Just clear.
Yeah, the 10% trigger, if it's like 20 cents, the 10% trigger would be 2 cent difference
Yeah.
between us and Eversource.
Yeah, so if we were 22 and they were 20, that would.
Yeah,
that would
say
trigger
if the
10%.
rate was 20 cents, I mean, we were 20 and they were 18, or say they were 19, there was only a penny difference there. We wouldn't opt out, we would automatically get rolled in.
Got it.
You know, automatically do the refresh. If it's over that threshold, then Community Power comes to us and says, okay, it's over your threshold, do you want to participate or not?
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously this change would go eventually to the town council for them to approve. Is that correct?
The amendment will go to the town council, definitely yes.
Yeah, so they're essentially endorsing whether they think they're, we have that authority, that it's delegated us to make that decision. So I think that town council is weighing in through that measure. So that would kind of, we feel that we have that, that would satisfy me for making sure that we're not superseding them in some way, because they're essentially granting us by their vote.
Yes,
that
yeah,
this
they
is
would be
amended.
aware of what we're saying.
Okay.
Percentage.
Makes sense.
Okay, the other thing I report is, okay, so, I don't know if I've talked to you before, but as a background, Community Power went live in March of 2023. During their first 12 months of operations, they did very well. We greatly expanded. We had a reserve of like $8 million. Reserve is basically their profit.
Yeah, I think we gave a whole.
Yeah, I already gave all
rundown
that?
of all
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
I remember
so-
that, which very, very good rundown. But yeah,
I didn't know whether I had to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Give you the
No,
background. Well, anyway.
So I know they're kind of in some financial straits, challenges right now.
No, well, actually, October, they had another very good month. So
good.
they've had 6 months in a row now where they've actually made a profit.
Okay.
So they're getting back on their feet. The expectation is that, my expectation anyway, is that the rate, again, will be a little bit higher than Eversource. But there's a great big caveat in there that Eversource, for several runs in a row now, or several rate periods, they have undercollected. So the question is, are they going to try to, make up that difference with this one? In which case, maybe we may end up coming in with a lower rate than Eversource.
Do you know, so Eversource recently raised their monthly fee from $15 to $19, basically.
Yeah,
Is
on
that,
the
does,
delivery side.
does that not cover, like, their
Doesn't-
under collection at all?
It doesn't cover the electric supply
Yeah.
stuff, no.
Okay. So in order to make up for their whatever lack of revenue from under collecting, they have to capture that on the supply side.
That's how they're supposed to do it, yes.
Okay. So they're just pocketing an additional $4 per month from customers for other reasons.
Okay, so that's the community power update.
So when would you expect to have that amendment? You said you're kind of working through the language with Community Power and.
I will definitely have it for December.
Okay.
For this upcoming, because it affects everybody, everybody kind of use that boilerplate EPA document, and so it really affects everybody. So everybody is either, some people with, I don't know, you can do it two ways. One, you can amend your EPA, your document, or you can have your town council, your council, just pass a resolution saying that, basically pass a resolution that says what they want to do. My preference is to actually amend the document.
Which would impact all 68 participants, communities? Give them
All
that
68
option?
all 68 communities are impacted.
Yeah.
They're saying there's two ways you can address the shortcoming. One is you can actually go in and amend your EPA, and the other way is just for your council, your legislative group of your town, for them just to pass a resolution saying what they're going to do. Again, my preference is have it documented and have, do the actual amendment. Not much different. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So so the way you're explaining it is talking about like community power of New Hampshire is amending the EAP.
No, Newmarket has its own EAP.
How would our EAP affect the other towns?
It doesn't affect the other towns. All the other towns have to do the same type of thing. Okay.
Okay, yeah, sorry, the way you were saying earlier, I got,
Okay.
you made it almost, yeah, so,
Every town has to do their own thing.
yeah.
Newmarket is, because, like I say, most of the towns don't do anything, they're involved, and we're involved. I'm actually working with the member services guy on, okay,
So we're
what is the legal
trailblazing, yeah.
wording that should be in there?
Gotcha, we're trailblazing other towns would be able to benefit from our, and they'd be
That's
able to
right.
use similar language that we kind of already.
Right, we're the guinea pig, basically.
Gotcha, okay, now I'm tracking. So, in practice, if we decide not to do the refresh, how much notice do we need to give to community power so they don't go and execute that?
For this March one, what they've said is, we just have to let them know by the end of December that we are planning to amend our EPA. And then we have until the end of January to tell them what it is that we want to do.
Okay,
And then after that, because most of the places, or some places, they may have to go to a town meeting to get it changed, or you have to, in Newmarket's case, we have to go to the town council to have them formally approve it. So they're aware that it takes a little bit of time, so that's why they're saying, for this particular March refresh, they're giving us the option, let them know that we're changing the EPA, and by the end of January, let them know whether we want to participate or not, and that we've either gotten the EPA changed or we're in the process of changing the EPA. And then going forward, prior to every refresh, they'll go along with what the individual town EPAs say.
so ostensibly, we would need to give them at least a month notice to say, do not do a refresh, if that's.
Yeah,
what we-
ideally, I think going forward, they'll give us a couple of months
Okay.
going forward.
Obviously, we need to know what the new rate is, so there's somewhat, we're constrained by that timeline, and then I just want to make sure that we're able to operate with enough time to make that decision ourselves, which then allows them to execute on our wishes there.
They definitely need lead time because the way they purchase electricity, they have to buy X percent of electricity several months before the month actually goes into effect, and then the day before the new month takes effect, they have to have purchased basically 100% of what they're expecting for power for that upcoming month. So they need some lead time too.
Yeah, and so when we're refreshing, we're still their customer, they're just not adding new accounts. It's really what it boils down. It's not like we're all of a sudden switching to the entire town to Eversource, but they say not to refresh.
Right, it's not the
us.
whole
It's not
town.
opting out.
Yeah, so it's
that's
not
good
like this
clarification.
huge, all of a sudden, we're changing contractors, but, okay. And then the next refresh period, those same new accounts that we delayed on or bypassed on are still available at the next refresh period, so they'll get them then,
Yeah.
right? It's not like they're going anywhere.
That's
those
correct,
accounts. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just kind of delaying the decision of when to add those accounts, essentially, if we decide to do that. Okay. That's pretty low stakes in my mind for like the risk of delaying that.
Julie, any thoughts, or I look like you might have had some.
I have a question. You mentioned the two options to address this are doing the amendment or a resolution to town council. If the amendment to the EAP, if we were not to do that and would go with the resolution by town council, does then it have to be addressed with every subsequent refresh as a resolution to town council?
No,
Or do you not have an option
whatever we
anymore?
decide is what they're going to
Okay.
use going forward.
Okay.
That's all I got for that.
Okay, so we can expect in our next committee meeting, which we'll talk about when that happens, what we'll know the new rate for,
We should know the new rate by our next meeting.
which likely, just while we're talking about it, is probably going to have to be mid-December, given Christmas, unless people want to meet. Well, yeah, on New Year's Eve. So it could be like the 17th. I don't know. The reason I'm bringing it up now is in case the rate doesn't get firmed until the end of the year, like the last week of December, then we won't know.
But we would, again, we could meet in January.
That's true. We could do an early
We could
January.
get till the end of January to let them know.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good.
But I will tell them that it's our intention to amend the EPA. Okay, so have to do that by the end of December, and then in January tell them we have, that we're working on it, or we approved it, and what we're going to do.
Okay. And one stupid clarification: you've said EPA a few times, and I just want to check.
EAP.
It wasn't sure if I wanted to make sure we were talking about the same thing.
Yeah,
It wasn't
electric
also an EAP.
electric aggregation.
Okay.
Program.
I thought that was the case, but thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is just our somewhat ambiguous reduce, reuse, recycling campaign that hasn't had a whole lot of traction yet, but a few items I don't have much of an update, but one of the items is engaging with the school, their net zero group. They're kind of waiting on us, which is I guess what I was hoping to maybe talk about here is seeing if anyone on the committee, which we're missing 3 members, so would be willing to step in to help with engaging with the school, helping kind of curate a plan of action for how the students could assist us. Admittedly, not really my forte, but I've had a few email exchanges with I forget her name out now, but the teacher at the school that runs the committee, the net zero group, for the school. So one of the ideas was to help with I think like informational awareness around recycling on the website, maybe at the transfer station, and so I don't know if that's like something we could. Admittedly, I'm like a little unsure how to move forward with this because I don't know if we have to just give them handhold them or.
Do we want to do I'm just throwing stuff out here. Do we want to decide on what we would like them to do? I kind of had in my mind that they would produce some kind of a video and maybe some other material about recycling and about the transfer station.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. I think we would have to give them quite a bit more than that or at least that was my read from the communication.
And do you want to send? How about if you send her a note saying, "We'd like to get together in January." This December's kind of short. To meet with them and hash out. Okay, this is what we would like to do. Can we meet with you in January to discuss? Okay, what do you need? How do we go about? What are the next steps to get them going to do that? Seem reasonable?
Yeah, it does seem reasonable. I mean, if it seems like if I were a high school student and somebody advised me that they would like something like that, I would like an outline saying, oh, okay, then they can think creatively about this video, knowing that these points in the outline that we provide them needs to be covered in this video in maybe some creative way.
Mm-hmm.
That only high school kids can, think about. But it would be like a structure for them to kind of say, okay, yeah, we covered everything that we were asked to cover.
Yeah, if I recall, it was the notes were kind of along the line is they were willing to do things, but they wanted more direction on
Exactly.
what to do. So again, if we meet in January and say, okay, we would like to produce a video and would like you to produce some kind of, charts or some graphs or something, and see how they want to go about doing it, or at that point in time we say, okay, we got the video guys here. You write up a script, or we can write the script for you. That type of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, if you want somebody to go with you, I'll go with you. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean? And we
I
can
would.
represent us.
Yeah, I would probably extend the invitation to the whole committee to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think re-engaging with, I forget her name, Beth. Sounds familiar.
I do have an email somewhere.
Yeah. So I'll work on reaching back out to her, and then we can. I think like we need to come up with some sort of outline, I guess, or like you said, direction.
Yeah, I think if you give them something like, it's kind of there's no recipe here, so just kind of like give them something and you'll get what you get, right?
Yeah.
You're not looking to make a Oscar or whatever the
Anything,
award-winning.
I don't know,
I don't know which one's which. I don't watch those.
I kind of envisioned them going down to the transfer station, they're standing in front of hey, here's the trash, you throw your trash. Here's the recycling bin. These are the type of things.
Yeah, that would actually be helpful.
Here's the compost pile. Did you know you can compost?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Here's the oil thing. Did you know you can bring your oil?
That's a great idea.
That type of thing.
Yeah, I think if you
we
say,
can give
like-
them an outline of, hey, there's a compost pile. There's a recycling pile. There's a cardboard recycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be like, keep it under 5 minutes, or, you can give, like, I don't know how long it is, or you can say, give me a longer explainer that's going to go on the website, so, like, it could be 5 minutes, but to your point, at the transfer station, and I want it to explain where each thing is and what goes there, so that someone of their age, if they were to take something there, like, they feel comfortable doing that. And as you show up, who do you talk to? What do you do? Because there's a fee component to it, right? And so that could probably be less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if they want to have fun with it, you can give them a little bit more of a creative outlet and say, and then make a TikTok version or that's like 30 seconds. I don't know how long those are. That's like trying to entice people to go use it. And so that you can kind of get your itch scratched of what you need, give them some framing of hit these marks, and then give them a little bit of a.
Well, they can
and then
talk to each
create.
other. Did you know that? Da 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 da. Wow. I didn't know that.
You can give them suggestions, like, I don't know, they watch all kinds of stuff, like a man on the street style, where it's like you go up and interview somebody at school, like, hey, have you recycled something this year? I don't know. You can give them like some suggestions there, but I think as long as you tell them we need the transfer station explained and the process like shown in a video that's under 5 minutes of what's where and how you do it.
Like what the end goal is.
Yeah, at minimum we need that. Anything beyond that is up to you guys. Just something fun and creative as like a school project site thing. But
Yeah.
that's the deliverable we need.
Okay. Another element to this, that I think I have another item on the agenda was this waste guide that we had discussed, I think 2 meetings ago, that I haven't made a ton of progress on. But I feel like if that were complete, that could be another element that like we want to weave into the town website in terms of providing more specific guidance for waste management. It'd be something that they could leverage and introduce. So I'll think about that and try and get that done.
You could, in the absence of having one that's Newmarket specific, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services has a website that has the like A to Z, what do I do with these things? So you could reference, if you don't know what to do, this is a website you can look at to get some guidance, just in the interim. And then when we do have one that's Newmarket specific, then we could, because a lot of the information that we would be putting in that and that Exeter put in theirs is
Aligned.
like mirrors what DES has
Yeah.
outlined in theirs.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, so the school, like, it's a club, right, that
Yeah.
we're working with. I don't know, like, what their kind of mission statement is, but if we can, get a good working relationship with them, there may be, like, bigger questions that we can kind of tackle them in very bite-sized chunks, because I could see, I don't know if it's actually the case, but you start with New Hampshire level, they do this exercise, they get familiar with the transfer station, what the town can do. Is there a gap between what the state recommends and what the town does? Is there a need that's missing there, right? can kind of turn into a little bit more of a targeted thing there. If we find opportunities to kind of engage them in a little bit of that. You can't give them too complex of a research mission. They're not, they're not adults, they're not town
It's a voluntary
employees.
club, yeah.
But there might be a very bite-sized chunk of like, hey, here's the thing we want to go inquire about, and then if you kind of do a little bit of a school project on it, but.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking similar, like give them an opportunity to research ways that we could improve waste reduction.
Yeah. But I think it just has to be a clear and very like specific question for them.
Yeah.
If you just make it too broad of like, how can we improve the town? They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the town. But if we say like, is there anything the state says we should do and
Yeah.
we're not doing, right? That may be a complicated thing, but it's an easy thing for them to go flag up.
Yeah.
This thing is different, and then from there we can kind of take that and tackle things. But I think this is a good start. Get them engaged in the topic, what the town can do, and then you might see little buds there that you can go and nourish.
Yeah. Mm. So I'll try and draft an outline, and then I can share it with. Can't really share it with everyone via email, right? Without.
You can send it as a Word document attachment so that people can review and provide comments via
So
email.
individually
Yeah.
provide comments back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's just like having a one-on-one conversation.
Right, and it's got to be direct email to you with the comments, not everybody, not
Yeah.
a reply all. That's
Yeah,
it.
I'll remember to remind people. Sorry, just noting that. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. So yeah, no major update on the waste guide matrix, but I will try to make progress on that. And then we had some brief correspondence with Casella via email. They helped us with a town-specific recycling guide, which is something that I've been belaboring, I guess, with trying to get more of our like plastic bag issues resolved in terms of, you see it at curbside, but it's also a big problem with the recycling bin at the transfer station. So maybe I think a next step would be trying to figure out how to get a sign actually posted at the transfer station with this.
I think
It's already there. I haven't been in a few weeks or longer.
I think so. I sent it to Rick.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
he said he was going to post it because there's an area
Yeah.
with the trailer that they have the signs. It's not a big thing, but
yeah.
I think he
Okay.
put it out there. I haven't gone to check.
Yeah, I
but
haven't been in a while. I'll go check then. Yeah.
It may be there. It's the one that's like the recycle trash and the
Yeah.
Is it the zero sort
I think so. Yeah.
poster
There-
one that they
Yeah, and there's a section on the right that kind of
Yeah.
just said these are like the clear things that you can't put in there, can and can't.
Yeah, I think it's there, but I haven't confirmed.
Okay. Yeah. I might try and go tomorrow.
Not to, you mentioned the plastic bag thing. There was something that Karen Bloom from DPW brought to me that I wanted to share with you.
Oh.
We don't need to get to it right now, but when we're on to next item, or is there new
I mean,
business?
it's relevant.
No, just go.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Karen brought this in to me because it's something that she saw in her community where she lives, and she thought it would be a great idea. So it's plastic bag recycling. So it's this company that, you can take one, pass that on, this is what she brought in from them. It's kind of like the deposit boxes that you see at like Target and Hannaford's where they collect the plastic bags, but you can coordinate with them to get something back from it. So her community had a group, similar type of committee that I think she said it was the Friends of the Rec Department or something that did it, but they coordinated with this company to get some deposit boxes and collected the plastic bags, sent them in, and they got a park bench that they can put somewhere in the town. So this may be a fun thing for the Net Zero group or an opportunity for collaboration with Conservation Commission to get a bench that can go in one of our town park spaces.
Yeah.
And can kind of help highlight get plastic bags out of the recycling and trash and send them here. I think Karen did a little bit of research on the coordination. I think you need to get the boxes, the like deposit boxes, and coordinate shipping, collecting the bags, the plastic, and then ship to this company, and you do a few shipments, and when it gets to a certain amount of pounds or tons that you send in, then you can turn it into, they can turn it into some plastic recycled material that they can send back to you. Her community selected a bench. I think there are other options. I'm not really sure. She brought it to me because she didn't really know who to take it to and talk to, and she doesn't have the capacity to look into it herself. So I said I would bring it here, present it here. If this committee, or if you think it would be better suited for Conservation Commission, I'd be happy to pass it along to them. But if there's a group that would be interested in looking into it and working with DPW on locations for that, we could have some collaboration for the collection of it and see what we could do there.
Amazing. Thank you for bringing this. I've looked into this myself, and when I came, the conclusion I came to was that you need to get like a baler to handle it, and it sounds like that's not true, but
Yeah, I don't think that
yeah.
her
So maybe it's changed, or maybe I got
group did.
yeah.
Or if there's a way that we could coordinate that with Casella,
Yeah,
through
well, I
the
was thinking
transfer station stuff.
has
Yeah,
space for something like that.
Yeah.
Not Baylor, but or maybe it does, but probably not the electricity, right?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, and additionally, I think like one of the other points next up on the agenda was a joint meeting with the Conservation Commission. This does seem like something that would make a lot of sense to collaborate with them on.
Yeah.
Is that a segue to the next item?
It can be.
Guess
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, no, I love this. Yeah, I'd love to. I can look into this again. Trex does like all the decking and stuff. If everyone's not familiar, and I don't know about the next part of this next Trex, but
Yeah,
it
I
is
don't-
really neat. And I looked into it too. Because this is a side note, but pellet bags
Oh,
are
yeah.
also acceptable.
recycled
and,
with that?
and they're actually great because the other component that Trex uses in their decking is like wood pulp, which
Oh.
is basically what's left over in the bag when you empty it.
Mhm.
Pellets. So it basically contains everything that goes into their product. The problem is that you end up with a lot of them when you have a ton of bags, like a literal ton. So yeah, the bins that you typically see would be at like grocery stores. Target, Lowe's has them. I think that's all going to the same company. A lot of them have like the Trex symbol on them. So I don't know if we could just get them at like where we would find locations for them. That would be part of the conversation with DPW. But
Yep. I would say that would be conversations with Karen, and she's the superintendent for buildings and grounds. So she manages a lot of the solid waste collection through our buildings, trash and recycling pickup through our buildings. So school buildings would be another.
Yeah, you could do like a plastic, I don't know if they do this, but like a plastic bag drive where
Yeah.
the kids of the school could basically do a drive, and the
Get people to bring them in.
prize is like, hey, we're trying to get this thing, bench, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities. They might have some ideas for what they think in town we could use, like parks and stuff. Otherwise, I'd probably just defer to, I don't know if that's DPW or like arts culture committee, because they might have an idea of maybe a need somewhere that they flagged. So they seem to put a lot of installations and things up. I feel like they have a good pulse for missing.
yeah, well, it could be an
components.
art installation as opposed to a bench too. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely plenty of ways. It might be a good way to like restart something small, test out the process, and if we find a lot of traction with this, we look for other opportunities to do it. Putting it at the transfer station probably can't be that big of an ask. There's probably a lot of space for. I think it's more of a logistics thing, making sure that they can actually like process this in a way
Yeah.
that's productive.
Right, like we would have to go through the discussion of who's actually collecting and managing the shipping, which I assume falls on DPW, which maybe is a lot to ask.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of what Karen was saying when she brought it to me, like, this seems like a great idea. I don't have the time to look into the logistics of how this would work, but would be happy to work with somebody if we can start to develop a plan. So I would say DPW would be open to coordinating that, and would like to know more about what kind of commitment that looks like. So we could have more conversation when we have a sense of how many deposit stations we're talking about, and
Yeah,
how
I
we
think
sense to fin.
somebody just probably needs to do the research, because if you can just put one at the transfer station and start there and get some relationship established with that, and then from there probably expanding becomes easier because you've already done all the legwork. So biting off the whole apple at once. So maybe that's just the first step, is getting one at the transfer station and figuring out what that looks like for them, and do as much as we can for them, and if it works, then we engage other people, figure out what we want, bench, I don't know, art installation.
Yeah. So you said, sorry, so Karen is it lives in a different town that this has already been completed, so she would be maybe a good first step to get more information on how it worked with her town?
No, that was where she was saying, she asked some questions of people, but they didn't have all the right answers
Okay.
logistics-wise.
Yeah.
So then she was like, well, she's too busy, she can't sit at her computer and
Yeah.
figure out how this would
Okay.
work here. So that's where she was saying, somebody help.
So we should reach out to Next Treks.
Yeah.
Probably get started, okay. All right. I guess the one other similar thought, we talked about the school again. I don't think the school has composting. I'm not sure if it has recycling in there, but I was thinking that either that could be something that the students could help pursue, or
I can confirm in my town, there is it's not called Net Zero, but there's an environmental committee at our elementary school that organized to do the Mr. Fox composting.
Oh, really?
So I would say talk to them to see if that's something they would be interested in promoting, advertising. Since the town already has a contract, it may be an easy add-on.
Can the school take their stuff to the town transfer station? Or
I don't
because they're
know.
a different entity, they're not allowed to?
My school has the bins at the cafeteria, and Mr. Fox picks them up there. So it's
That would probably be ideal than trying to cart your
Yeah.
stuff up to the
probably
transfer station.
substantial enough too. for
Yeah.
the school.
but it's like an add-on to, because we have it at the transfer station too. We could also add more bins at another location potentially, and that could be something that group is coordinating.
Okay.
I think just to tack on to that, if the towns, the businesses in town, because we have quite a few restaurants downtown, like, are they taking advantage of that? Can they? Because that's, obviously, I don't make as much food as they do at my home. I mean, there's a lot more people than businesses making food, I'm sure, but I'm sure they go through a lot of food waste and things, so is there a way to kind of reduce or redirect food waste from them? So probably big producers.
I don't know if they can I don't think they can do it through the town's contract, but I think all of those, I know we're in the service area. Newmarket's in the service area for Mr. Fox, obviously because they do it, and I think some residential people do it. I sometimes see the bins on the side of the road, so all the businesses could also expand and contract with Mr. Fox, or, I mean, we don't do it at the transfer station for food scraps. I mean, the composting, at the transfer station, we compost the leaves and brush and stuff. The food scraps go through Mr. Fox because they have the facility that's capable of doing all of that stuff. So the commercial entities partnering, the restaurants and stuff, some of them may already contract with Mr. Fox, but
Yeah, I guess I'm more just curious how many do and
Yeah.
why, because maybe they see it as advantageous, maybe it's just kind of a moral thing they want to redirect, I'm not sure. This is like the Mr. Fox, that you're not getting paid to give them that. They're basically taking it for you, and you just don't have to do it, wasting it. That's kind of the advantage for them, right?
Well, it's kind of, yeah.
Because if I were to take my stuff to the transfer station, it's just like, I'm just not putting it in the trash. I'm not buying a trash bag. I'm redirecting it. So other than
Right.
driving up there, it costs me basically nothing versus costing me to trash it.
Right, and it is free to do it, free to Newmarket residents to bring it to the transfer station. The town pays Mr. Fox to do their periodic pickups and to do the compost pickup removal service. And like, I do it at my own house. I pay for the service. I have my bin and they come every 2 weeks and pick it up for me.
How does that compare to like putting it through the normal trash stream? Or like, is it advantageous to put it through the Mr. Fox like composting stream?
Yes,
Okay.
You go through less
environmentally
trash.
and cost-wise, because it
But-
reduces the hauling. It reduces the volume of solid waste that's being hauled. So it decreases the weight and reduces hauling for trucks, smaller trucks that do the compost. It's a different way, so.
Tip fees, right? So from Casella's perspective, they're charging us on a per tonnage basis of waste.
Right.
So
So if we're
food is, like, the
diverting that
heaviest thing
out-
that's going to go in there, yeah.
Then we're reducing the amount that's going to the landfill, and we don't pay as much in that waste. And we pay for the service of the compost. Can feel better about where it goes.
But you're subsidizing the town's costs by paying for Mr. Fox composting yourself, right? In theory?
Well, I don't live in this town.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would use it at the transfer station for sure.
Right, fair enough.
But in my town, since we don't have it, I use Mr. Fox at my own house. And you can, if you don't want to be hauling it to the transfer station, they do curbside pickup, just like the regular trash. Mine goes out on Thursdays, every other Thursday, and it's just the little tiny bin that sits next to the other two.
Do you pay, if you don't mind me asking, for your trash in any way, or is it like through taxes? I know for us it's bags, but
Yeah. So I live in Stratham,
yeah.
and no, I don't. It's through taxes. We don't have paper bag, and we don't have a subscription for the curbside pickup. We have to pay at the transfer station, just like here, with when we have to dispose of stuff. But
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is, I mean, if more people were aware of using the compost pickup at the transfer station and how much that would benefit them by saving money on the plastic bags, or if we were to, this is a topic,
Yeah.
to eventually, if we switch to bins, it's not an obvious savings for the individual by composting, but it would save the town money if everyone stopped putting food waste in their trash. And the cost to, Newmarket would still have to pay for composting in some form or another.
yeah,
And if that grew dramatically from the transfer station, that would also, I assume, add cost. But I think that just like unequivocally there are benefits to doing this.
yeah, and you're right. You definitely reduce the number of bags you're using, so you are saving on bags if you're diverting that waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might just be, I don't know what that does for the town businesses, but that might be an avenue similar to the school too. Sounds like it's more of a public service type arena where it's like, hey, there's this great thing, here are the benefits, you should consider doing it. Although we can't, tell them or really help
Right.
them do that.
Yeah.
But might just be more of a public service announcement arena.
Another thing, the students would probably be pretty convincing of.
And sometimes people just don't have the bandwidth to like look into that themselves.
Yeah.
So you can kind of come in and say, "I did the work for you, and this is why," and just really put the decision in front of them without the work. Sometimes that just helps people like, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna go try that." Especially if it's okay, I'll do a contract for a month or two, feel it out, and then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But imagine a restaurant type would probably see the benefits or lack thereof pretty quickly, just based on how much food
Yeah.
waste they probably generate.
Do the businesses in the town have to contract their own waste removal, trash removal specifically, or are they through the town Casella program as well, like orange bags?
That's a good question.
I mean, I always see the orange bags out
I
on
think
the
it's-
street when it's trash day. So.
Yeah, because through our contract with Casella, if Casella's gonna pick it up, it's gotta be in the orange bags.
Yeah.
So I think they do have to do it that way, or they
Have like a dumpster or
contract
something.
their own private service for the waste removal.
Okay.
And I think some of them do.
Got
I
it.
don't-
Yeah. But either way, like, I think we could make it clear in messaging that they would probably save money on their trash. Trade the cost to composting.
Yeah, you're diverting the money.
Yeah.
They'd
Yeah.
have to see, if I reduce my trash by this much, this many bags, but now I'm paying, they would have to go do that for themselves, but.
Yeah. Okay. Food for thought. Pun intended there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
It's cringy,
Was
right?
pun intended, right?
There's no puns at town meetings.
Sorry. Okay, so earlier we sort of segued to our joint meeting with the Conservation Commission. Chris, who is the chair of that commission, had reached out to us, and I think Joe, you and I are still trying to coordinate a side.
No, I think the note that you sent her, that last note, that kind of outlined three things, and I forget what they were.
Yeah, same.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
What can we talk about beforehand so that when we go into the meeting, that it's productive? I think, I don't remember what they were, but whatever you said, I think that was a good starting point.
Okay.
And
All right.
I said that, I told Chris that.
Okay, so the plan then is that Chris, Joe, and I are going to meet to try and establish, or no?
We don't
No,
have to
we
meet
don't
now.
have-
I
okay.
think when we go in, do you know when their meeting is?
I don't.
Okay.
I can reach out to her to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, we can try for December. I don't know what their scheduling's like. Obviously, December's a busy month
Mhm.
for a lot of people, but
I think it's December 11th. Is there the second Thursday?
Maybe January is better. I'm gone for like all of December.
yeah, I mean,
December 11th.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be 2 weeks from now for us.
Yeah.
I'm not here that day.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not either. So
So you want to let her know we'll
we'll
pick it up in January?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's invited, right?
Yes, I mean everyone's eligible to go to any public meeting, right? So
Correct.
Yeah, so is that us coming and being in the audience, or is that like, I don't know how
That-
meetings work.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's-
If the whole committee is invited and you're going to be talking about joint topics, then you would just need to let Wendy know for posting purposes. It could be posted as a joint meeting.
Okay.
Which I'm fine doing that, it's just being intentional about what it is. Unlike, like when we had a meeting ago when a couple of the council members came, in a private capacity, in a sense. I mean, they're still council members, but it wasn't the whole, it wasn't a meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
quorum.
if there's a quorum. If there would be a quorum of this committee and Conservation Commission in attendance discussing joint items, then you need to post it as a joint meeting.
I see.
But if only 2 members of this committee are going and there's not a quorum, then it doesn't need to be posted. That's different.
Okay. Yeah, I think the more from our committee, the better. So if we can get committee quorum, we'll just need to figure that out in advance.
Mm-hmm. And that's easy. Wendy just updates the posting to
Okay.
note that it's a joint meeting with both.
Sounds good. Yeah, I can circulate once we've pulled the email what we actually proposed.
Yeah, I think whatever meeting, if they already have one on the books, I'm happy to, as long as it doesn't coincide with planning board meeting, I'm happy to, so just don't do the 13th for me. Was it the 8th?
Looks like it. Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
ideal. Yeah.
I'd be fine if just piggybacking on one they already have set up. That's easier for everybody.
Also, segueing again to our next topic, which is just scheduling our next meeting. we do have Christmas and New Year's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are on a Wednesday. So that pretty much puts us at either the 17th or, just a thought, we could call this joint meeting our next committee meeting. I don't know if that's allowed, but we'd obviously kind of tailor it to the Conservation Committee's
Yeah,
agenda, so it doesn't really.
I would hesitate to put all of our business in the joint meeting just because it's going to be, that you're having two committees worth of full meetings, that's just double the meeting time.
And we can't really like approve our minutes at their meeting.
Yeah, and so there's some of those orders of business that you would kind of, really want to do in a
Fair
joint
enough.
meeting.
Yeah.
Plus with Joe doing the community power amendment discussion, I don't know if
Right.
there's, in the 17th, like you were saying earlier, that's too early for us to have that information available.
I honestly don't know. It's usually just shortly before Christmas, probably that week that they would have it. Again, we could put that off till January. Making a decision whether we want to, and if it's really crazy discrepancy, I mean, we could set up a special meeting, say, hey, we need to get together to talk about this. If it's really, I would suggest that we, cancel December and go into January. Conservation Commission is meeting January 8th.
And we're normally like one of the later weeks in the month, right?
And, as long as we make the decision on community power before, I think the 30th, we're fine.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do a full quorum, just a couple members want to go to the joint meeting just to talk like kind of bigger picture and get some of that partnering, and then have a full meeting, later in the month. Something that people might be able to support instead of doing two full attendance meetings in the same month. It might be challenging for people, but
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know what other committees or meetings. I know Joe has town council, so he's probably as busy, but.
Does the town council have to approve a resolution to adopt the amendment
Yes.
before, so would that have to be before January 30th?
No, no. As long as we tell them that we're working on it and it's in progress, and for this March one, we don't have to have it formally approved.
Okay.
But I have the resolution all set to go. We're just kind of waiting to see what the wording is going to be in the thing.
But you guys got to read it in, and then you got to wait a meeting.
Right,
Right,
yeah.
right,
There's
there's
a little bit
the
of
two readings. Yeah.
time in.
But no, it doesn't have to be done.
Okay.
I mean, if it comes to it, that just means that we would refresh in March, which if this committee was already willing to let it refresh in March anyways, it's kind of the timing is moot for that.
Mhm.
We're pressing ourselves against March, but I didn't get the impression that, we'll see what the rate is, but that we were overly concerned with needing that actual March refresh.
So is our next meeting January 28th?
If we cancel December's, technically yes, but I would suggest that we move it earlier in January and then skip the 28th one. But
That's fine with me. I'll go along with whatever you like.
given one, we want to get and we hopefully have updates from Soul Smart. But I mean, whether that's late January or mid-January, it doesn't really matter. But I also think it makes sense to have that meeting after the Conservation Commission.
Okay, so you talked to the Conservation Commission, were they okay with us kind of like commandeering one of their planned ones to be a joint one? Because if they had a bunch of business that they wanted to get through, they may not be okay with that, so.
Yeah.
I don't know what your conversations were, but we may buy ourselves into a separate, both committees might buy themselves a separate joint meeting just for the topic of like collaboration and have separate business meetings.
So you're saying separate conservation, separate energy, and then separate joint, so 3?
Yeah, because we're not gonna talk about this order of business in a joint meeting.
Yeah,
It just won't be on
yeah.
the agenda. So you're either missing a month to have a joint meeting where none of you are doing the normal order of business that month, or you're buying yourself 2 different meetings.
Yeah.
You know, relatively speaking, which it is what it is, right? If that's what you guys feel we need to do, it is what it is. But those are the trade-offs as we're kind of scheduling some of these.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll get a better sense from Chris how, I guess, like, derailed she wants to get the typical conservation commission meeting, but it sounded like we would be in attendance and, you know, just contributing, but
Yeah, if it's like what we did with the town council,
Yeah.
there's, you know, 3 of us are showing up, and that's a order of business in their meeting.
Right.
That's a totally different ask, and we can schedule ours, you know, separately in the month. And then just, you know, 3 of us are kind of committing to doing 2 meetings that month, which
yeah, a little bit more, yeah.
probably, you know, is the chair organizing all that, and then whoever else is super interested. I don't have to go then, you know. My planning board stuff keeps me busy enough as it is.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm looking at like mid-January, but there's a few meetings like the 14th already, and then town council's the 21st. I'm not sure. It doesn't have to be Wednesday. Could be like the 15th, Thursday the 15th.
Yeah, as long as it's not the 13th for me. Or if you, well, yeah, you're not talking about the Tuesday.
So do you want to do 15th?
Yeah, we also are missing 3 members, so we don't really
Yeah.
know. But tentatively,
I'm fine with that, Thursday the 15th.
Okay, we'll put tentative then.
yeah, and I can do some separate outreach to the other members to see if that works, and then we can try for a different day.
Yeah, I'm guessing they don't want to totally derail their January 8th meeting with just like joint stuff.
Exactly.
If I were to
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
I would like, I wanted to do it this month, but we can't do it this month and next month. I would like to bring in somebody to give us an overview of group net metering. So, would you guys be willing to take on something else on the 15th in addition?
That would be awesome. I think
Okay.
that's a great topic to include.
Who would be coming?
Somebody from Community Power. Okay, he would give us an overview. I'll give you a background on it. Community Power is working on another group net metering project that will go into effect the end of 2026, early 2027, and they're going to be looking for communities or municipalities that would be willing to participate in group net metering. So I thought it'd be good for us to have a overview of what group net metering is, and then we can have a discussion whether maybe suggest that Newmarket participate in that.
Does this require solar?
It's a solar installation, yes. And the way group net metering is basically a bunch of communities, they basically commit their electricity to them.
Yep.
They get the requisitions, and if they make any money on the net metering part, then the town gets a credit. We can still get our electricity from somebody else, whoever the town wants to, but basically, since we're kind of like committing our electricity to them, they get the requisitions, and, you know, for solar energy.
Right.
So it's still over my head, group net metering, how it all works. I understand the concept, but I think it'd be good to hear somebody explain
Yeah.
what it is and how it actually might benefit the town. You know, Durham is participating in group net metering with Community Power on a solar installation that they have going in now. Okay. Like I said, Community Power is looking at the next one, which will be the end of 2026, early 2027. That'll give us plenty of time to, you know, take a look at it and
Yeah.
see what we want to do.
That is something that Bill, the finance director,
Mhm.
and I have had conversations with Kearsarge Energy, and they have also reached out to the school. So group net metering is something that the town is learning more about and looking into. I would also, because Katrin has come and provided her input, she's worked with other communities to negotiate the contracts on group net metering. So I would say we would probably also include her in that.
Great.
Katrin,
Our
Katrina?
guest last
the
month.
Clean
Yeah.
Energy New Hampshire circuit rider. I don't know if she would be able to attend that meeting to hear about it, but she would be another another resource to provide some input on group net metering benefits and what the town should consider in weighing those contracts.
Okay. I have to confirm with this guy, Mark, that he can make the 15th. I think where it's plenty of advance notice at this point, it probably will be good, but.
And also
I'll-
let Bill know, or I'll let Bill know, because we have our conversations with Kearsarge already
Okay.
in the works.
Would that be a
Okay.
competitor to community power
Yeah.
for this type of program?
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be an alternative, because group net metering is, the town doesn't pay to install, and
Yeah.
it's kind of buying into their, so if we're gonna commit to one, we wouldn't commit to the other.
Yeah, right.
And if Newmarket's gonna commit to building, we wouldn't wanna commit all of our usage for certain facilities to that. So that was another consideration with group net metering. If we're a town that's gonna do our own projects,
Yeah, we're
then,
getting into the supplier game at that point, essentially, instead of just being a consumer.
yeah.
So how far along are they? I wasn't aware of that.
In the discussions with Kearsarge,
Yeah.
we have a draft agreement for consideration, but,
Oh.
and some scheduling tables of what the credits and payments would be. But I don't think any of that's been reviewed.
Okay, all right.
Beyond Bill.
Do you want to talk to Bill? We'll just tell
I
him.
will let him know that this is,
Yeah, and
An
maybe a
alternative
better
option.
competitive
yeah,
deal with community power than.
yep.
Okay.
And Bill has been the one that's been talking with Bryant from the school district about potentially, because they do the energy contracting together,
Mhm.
the school and the town, and they work out those contracts, so.
I don't know, should we be involved in stuff like that, or should they let us know, hey, that they're off doing stuff and we're the energy committee, and then we find out after the fact?
Yes, the energy committee should probably be involved and have an opportunity to advise council on those things. I think some of those things get decided at the finance department level and not necessarily through
Yeah.
council. Probably more discussion that we should have with Bill and Steve.
Okay, how do I approach this?
We can talk offline.
Just grab them and say, hey, Bill.
It's not a bad thing that these conversations are being had.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the direction.
Well, I think it'd be good for us to understand what group net metering is, and, generally, they're fairly long contracts.
Yeah, that was another thing that Katrin mentioned, that the communities that she's worked with and reviewed contracts with, she has pushed them to not commit to more than 15 years. Where most
Not more than what?
Not more than 15 years. Most of
Yeah,
the
they'll go 20.
developers are trying to push 20 or more, but that's the lifespan of the
Even-
equipment, and just,
Even 16 is a long time.
yeah.
Okay. Let me find out if this guy's doing that.
I will,
You mention it to Bill,
Yep.
and I can also grab him too and say, hopefully they can hold off on any decisions till they hear what community power might have for an option.
I don't think, from my conversations with Bill and the school, I don't think that anybody's close to making decisions. It was information gathering and consideration.
Okay.
And there's still additional review that needs to happen before any decisions are being made.
Okay. Oh, that makes it easier for me. I'll give him a call tomorrow maybe to say,
Okay.
hey, call Bill. Okay.
Is this type of contract with Kearsarge dependent on them developing a project in Newmarket? Or
No.
it doesn't require
You
that?
don't have to have any land to provide. You can, but it's a project that they already have in the works to develop, and and the ones that they listed for potential for us, I want to say there's one in Bow, and then Henniker was one of the more recent towns that joined on, so that's not one of the locations. But they had 3 projects already with projected generation, and that they're trying to kind of build out, because in order to do these larger projects, the state legislature has stipulations that there has to be a certain amount of the energy generated that goes to municipalities. So they're trying to get the municipal commitment so that they can proceed with the projects that they're.
And when you say municipalities, specifically like municipal buildings consuming that energy, or contracting that energy, not just the residents of Newmarket?
No, it's not specifically the energy, it's the credits from that they, so it's complicated, which is why somebody should come in and
Yeah.
explain. But the towns sign on as an off-taker, so they commit to using that amount of energy and get a payment from the developer once they've produced that amount of energy. So it's not actually an exchange of energy, it's the monetary credit from the energy that has to go to the municipalities. And that's a state legislature, that's a stipulation of those over 1 megawatt facilities.
I see. It sounds similar to traditional community power programs that Massachusetts, different companies like Nexamp do. Like if you can't put solar on your roof, you sign on for a contract. But it's a contract between the resident and Nexamp or whatever the company is, as opposed to. So I'm curious how that differs from group net metering, but maybe that's something we'll learn.
A lot of papering.
Indeed. I was a customer, anecdotally, when I lived in Cambridge doing that, and it was not advantageous. The cost was not better than Eversource, which is interesting. Okay.
Thank you for letting me know about that.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And I second it.
All right. Approved. Sorry, I gotta work on my business management.